All right, breaking news out of the NBA where Andrew Wiggins and the Warriors have agreed to a 4-year, $109 million extension. That's been confirmed by our Bill Ryder. The deal ties Wiggins to Golden State for the next 5 seasons, coming off his first career All-Star appearance, averaging just over 17 points, 4.5 rebounds per game, helping the Warriors win the NBA titles. This is the second big extension the Warriors have agreed to today. Earlier this morning, Golden State and Jordan Poole agreed to a 4-year, $140 million extension. That was an expected deal for Jordan Poole. Andrew Wiggins is the latest to get a $100 million deal from the reigning NBA champions. All right, let's get some perspective. Welcome in CBS Sports NBA writer Colin Ward-Henninger. Colin, 2 deals worth over $100 million here for the Warriors. Your reaction, what more can you tell us about the deals that got done here for Jordan Poole and Andrew Wiggins?
Yeah, well, first starting with the Jordan Poole deal, this one was kind of expected that they would get this done before the season start. A little bit higher than expected. Most people probably thought it would be around that Tyler Hero range, which was 130. Poole getting 140. You know, maybe that's a little compensation for taking a punch from Draymond Green earlier in training camp. But it was absolutely expected that they would want to lock up Poole for the long term. In terms of Wiggins, that was a little bit more of a surprise. I expected those negotiations to go on throughout the season. And for Wiggins to take the pay cut that he did, $109 million, that's almost a $10 million per year pay cut in those first 2 years of the contract, which is pretty remarkable considering that Andrew Wiggins is coming off being perhaps the second best player on a championship team in the finals. So, a guy in the prime of his career probably could have gotten more in the open market. It just goes to show how important winning is for him and how happy he is with his situation with the Golden State Warriors.
Now that these deals are done, Colin, what's the biggest question for the Warriors going into the season, which begins Tuesday?
Yeah, the biggest question now in terms of, financials is what are they going to do with Draymond Green? He has a $27 million option for next season, a player option. It was expected that he was probably going to opt out of that. Right now, we're not so sure where his standing is in the league in terms of what he could command on the open market. So obviously, with all of the drama that happened this preseason with Draymond Green punching Jordan Poole, now Jordan Poole getting all this money, we'll see. The Warriors say that they're ready to move on. Everyone's apologized. Everybody's trying to get back to the chemistry that they've developed over the last few seasons. But money does tend to creep into these things. And if Draymond Green wants an extension, if he wants more money, it's going to be difficult for the Warriors to give them that with these 2 deals with Jordan Poole and Andrew Wiggins. Assuming that Draymond opts in next season, the Warriors will be paying almost $275 million in luxury tax alone. Combine that with the salaries, you're looking at a bill of around $500 million. So they definitely have questions about what they want to do with Draymond Green. And this season will go a long way to proving that. Draymond Green has said that he has a lot of people that he wants to prove wrong this season. That chip on his shoulder is always there. But if he has a great season, he could go into free agency and possibly get even more money than that.
What is the contract, the deal for Jordan Poole? What kind of message does that send to Draymond Green?
I probably want to look at this as like, hey, we want to pay this guy instead of paying you. I don't know if that's necessarily the case here. Steve Kerr had kind of hinted a few days ago that this deal was going to happen. It was expected to be in this range, but the fact that he did get a little bit more shows that they just believe in this guy. And for what everybody has said throughout the Warriors since Jordan Poole has been here is that he's one of the hardest workers on the team. He's right up there with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson in terms of their work ethic, being in the gym, and this is a reward for that. And obviously, this is projecting that Jordan Poole is going to be able to carry that torch. The Warriors have wanted to kind of create this young core that can kind of take over for the big guys, the main guys, once they start to age out of their primes. And locking up Jordan Poole, locking up Andrew Wiggins is a sign that they are committed to that process. So obviously, you want to think of this as kind of a shot at Draymond Green, but in reality, I think that this was a deal that they were going to make regardless of what happened between Poole and Draymond in the preseason.
Colin, how am I supposed to believe, how are we supposed to believe that everything's okay going into the season? Because I'm curious the camaraderie right now in the locker room when the season starts. Like, we could sit here and go, yeah, they're going to forget about Draymond Green punching Jordan Poole, sucker punched him in practice. But when you look at how this works, this is a team, and they won the NBA title last season. I'm confused at how this is going to work to begin the season.
Well, Steve Kerr will tell you that it's the veteran leadership on this team. And obviously, Draymond Green has crossed the line. He has done things that have gotten close to the line. He's done things in the past that have crossed the line. This is an entirely new situation. Steve Kerr called it the biggest crisis that this team has had to deal with since he's been head coach. Obviously, there were a lot of conversations that went down, and that involves Stephen Curry. That involves Kevon Looney. That involves Klay Thompson. And most importantly, that involves Jordan Poole. Poole sat down with Draymond, which is what Kerr said, and he was okay with Draymond not being suspended for this and trying to move on with the team. That being said, what your point is saying, how does Jordan Poole walk into practice, walk into the locker room, and see Draymond Green remembering that punch that he threw and watching that video over and over and over and over again, and be able to play with this guy as a teammate? Well, one of the Warriors' biggest strengths is, what we call championship DNA, camaraderie, experience, whatever you want to say. They play for each other, and that shows in the postseason when they make their runs. If they are not all together and playing for each other, which it might be hard to do when knowing that someone on your team punched you in the face during practice, that could fracture the team. And everyone from Kerr and Curry all the way down has said that there are amends that Draymond needs to make, and that's just not saying the right things, apologizing. That's showing it on the court that he's there for his teammates, and he's willing to curtail some of these kind of wild behaviors that have gotten him in trouble in the past. So he's going to have to prove that through actions, and it's something that we're going to have to monitor throughout this title defense.
Considering his contract situation that you noted, I mean, how likely would be that he gets traded at the deadline or even before that?
I mean, I think it's more likely now that they've locked in all this money. It really depends on how he plays this season to me. Not just how he plays, but how he makes those amends that I was speaking of in terms of what he's done to this team's culture and their camaraderie. I think that the idea of Draymond going to another team has always been a difficult proposition because of what he does for the Warriors is so specific. What he does offensively and being kind of a point forward and running the offense while Steph Curry and Klay Thompson run around screens. What he does defensively in terms of being so versatile, playing center, guarding up, guarding down, being the communicator. We don't know how that would look on another team, so it's hard to gauge what his value would be on the open market. Throw in the fact that until last season, it looked like he was kind of on a steady decline in terms of his play. He's going to be 33 years old. He has the baggage of having these kind of, suspension-worthy actions in the past. What team is going to go out there and throw him a bunch of money? I'm not sure. So I'm also not sure what kind of value he would return in a trade. But that's your question. I think the fact that they've committed this much money to Wiggins and Poole certainly makes it more likely that at least they'll explore options for a Draymond Green trade.
Well, if they win, then everything will be okay. If they don't win, see ya, right? Because that's kind of how it goes. Winning culture, that supersedes everything. Drama in the locker room, you win, you keep on winning your winning ways as the reigning NBA champs, and everything's cool. But if they start slip-sliding and Draymond's not playing well and he's getting benched for Jordan Poole or whoever's coming, Kevon Looney's coming in, I'm just saying, this could blow up real quick, Colin, and we're going to have you on when that happens. So sit tight, because this is going to be an interesting start to the NBA season. But on this day, the Warriors getting 2 mega deals done, 2 deals worth well over $100 million for Jordan Poole and Andrew Wiggins. Colin Ward-Henninger breaking it down for us here on HQ. Colin, thanks. So again, a 4-year, $109 million extension for Andrew Wiggins. And in earlier news, earlier in the day, Jordan Poole agreed to a 4-year, $140 million extension. Warriors and Celtics co-favorites to win the NBA championship. They played each other in last year's finals, and the Warriors looking to repeat. They begin their season Tuesday against the Lakers at home.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.